Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto becomes Swordmaster part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. The soft calming ball of flames cast a humming, endearing glow over the small village. Shops were slowly coming out of their overnight slumber and opening up for business. Stalls were being set up on the streets, the vendors behind them already attempting to attract customers. Wind blew softly over the village, blowing away the heat waves, and tried to calm the midsummer heat. The peaceful faces of the Hokage, looking over their village, completed the picture of perfect serenity. Whoops of glee, shouts of joy and laughter tore through the perfect serenity. The villagers looked towards this new sound invasion, Lolts. To find the village's menace running through the dirt roads at breakneck speed, with men, women in billowing cloaks, with colored masks covering their face, chasing him. This was one of the 5 great ninja villages of the world, Konohagakure. The village hidden in the leaves. The current happenings were a regularly occurring phenomenon. Konoha would wake every morning to serenity, only to have it marred by the boisterous cackling of an orange-clad ninja wannabe. Naruto was a blonde-haired boy with a round, boyish face marred by 3 whisker-like markings on each side of his face. He always wore an orange jumpsuit with white high necks and orange trousers that reached up to the top of his ankles. He would wrap up the bottom of his trousers in ninja wraps to keep it out of anything he might trip on. Evidently, the boy's fashion sense was a living abomination on the face of the planet. Naruto was the boy that was running through the town center, cackling like a mad scientist, with members of the Anbu Black Ops on his tail. His bright clothing, bright hair and maddening laughter gave the ninja perfect beacons in the crowd to track. Ducking into an alleyway that he knew led to his apartment, he left some of his ready-made traps in his wake as he darted towards his apartment. He was happy with the result of his pranks today, especially so since he had managed to prank the village leader, the Hokage himself. As he ran towards his house, he thought of the perfect crime he just pulled. Flashback. Naruto was forced through the large oak doors of the Hokage's office. He was originally in a good mood to get to see the old man again, but his mood quickly deteriorated upon seeing the glare the Hokage was sending his way, and he was sure that the glare was meant for him, not the Anbu behind him. The Hokage sat behind a large mahogany desk littered with paperwork, quills, pens, pencils and ink bottles. The room itself was quite large, filled with showcases full of trophies and pictures of old ninja that were honored in the village. One particular picture caught Naruto's attention, despite feeling the Hokage's glare drill a hole through the side of his head. He stared at the happy face of the 4th Hokage, the corners of his lips pulled up in a slight smile, his eyes closed in happiness, and his blonde hair billowing softly in the wind. No matter how many times he came into the room, that one picture always managed to catch his attention. Hiruzen Sarutobi cleared his throat to catch Naruto's attention, and it had the desired effect as he turned from the face of the 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze, to the face of the 3rd Hokage. Hiruzen Sarutobi. Naruto always thought it was weird, but due to the death of the 4th a few years ago, the 3rd had to come out of retirement to take up the position again. Alright Naruto, what prank did you pull this time? What damages did you cause and to what region? Sarutobi asked. The Anbu moved to answer his questions, but he held up a hand. I want Naruto to answer, no one else interfere. Actually, just leave me alone with the boy. The Anbu members that were in the room, standing behind Naruto and hidden in the shadows to guard the Hokage, left the room in complete silence. Naruto walked up to the old man's desk. Well Gigi too, I didn't actually do anything this time. The Anbu were trailing me for some reason, and they got to me before I started painting the Hokage faces. Naruto replied in all honesty. He didn't do anything this time, so he didn't need to lie to get out of trouble this time. Why would you even think of doing such a thing? The Hokage are respected people in our village, even you respect them Naruto. So why would you do such a thing to defile their memory? Sarutobi asked his surrogate grandson. He was surprised to say the least. Everyone in the village respected the Hokage, but in the heart of Naruto, the Hokage held a special place. Because I want to show everyone I will be better than them. I will show them that I can surpass all the Hokages and be the best there is. Was Naruto's simple reply. It may not have been logical, but it was a reply nonetheless. Naruto, I can't ignore this. Your everyday pranks I can overlook, but the defilement of a village monument is unacceptable. Naruto slowly paled and started to clam up as he heard his surrogate grandfather speak. He started to think of the diabolical plan to get him out of the situation. I will be asking Naruto to oversee your punishment. Every day, I want you to, but he got no further. Transformation Jutsu. Naruto held his hands in a tiger seal. Immediately, a large amount of smoke poured out of where he stood, and out came a voluptuous blonde teenage girl with lush curvature. The girl was naked, but smoke covered her privates. As soon as he caught a sight of this, the Hokage shot backwards with his head leading his body. The force of the fountain of blood that was now pouring out of his nose was too much for even the greatest of the village to handle. He watched the old man fall backwards for a second, but he wasted no time. Quick as lightning, Naruto changed back to his normal self, grabbed a jutsu scroll that he had been eyeballing on the Hokage's desk for a while, and jumped out of the open window. Recovering quickly from his plight, he summoned the Anbu that were outside his room. Naruto ran off with one of my jutsu scrolls. I want you to go catch him and bring back the scroll in Naruto, unharmed. Hearing the warning in the Hokage's voice, the Anbu members disappeared from Saratobi's office, but not before they caught the old man heave an exhausted sigh. As soon as the Anbu left his room, Saratobi went back to his paperwork. Flashback end. Naruto laughed his happy carefree laugh as he stepped into his hallway, jutsu scroll in hand. Even he was exhausted from trying to run away from Anbu Black Ops members, as seasoned as he was in the art of evasion. Well, the Anbu were the village's elite, and he was a simple academy student running away from them. The dead last of the academy. Putting those sullen thoughts out of his mind, he decided to read the jutsu scroll and see if he could make heads or tails of a few complicated jutsu. As he opened to the content section, Naruto read the contents of the scroll out loud. Higher style. Eternal black flames. Higher style. Giant phoenix flower. Higher style. Meteor shower. Lightning style. Thunderclap. Illusion style. Soul binding. Sword style. Crescent moon slash. All of those sounded like awesome and complicated jutsu, but what caught his attention was the last two jutsu on the contents page. Uzumaki Sealing Style. Chakra Entrapment. Uzumaki Bloodline. Azure Dragon's Wrath. Note, only for the usage of those with Uzumaki blood from the Uzumaki clan of Uzushiogakure, the village hidden in the tides. Naruto ran his finger over the last two jutsu, thinking of the village and clan he never knew, the kinsmen he had never met, the jutsu he had never learned. The sense of family and friendship he never had. Running out of the apartment and making for the training grounds, Naruto decided to go train. -6 months later, at the Ninja Academy. It was a pleasantly warm day today, warmer than normal for a winter day in Konoha. The Konoha Ninja Academy was abuzz with life, students were running around everywhere, trying to revise or practice their jutsu at the last second. Yes, this was the day for their graduation exams. Many of the students were wearing less clothes that day, favoring to wear lighter clothes due to the warmer day. Many were wary however and brought heavier clothes along with them. Some left their heavier clothes with their parents, in order to pick them up later if they needed them. The parents tried to stay out of the way of the students for the most part, they were starting to form a ring around the academy. Parents weren't allowed to see the actual exams, but they were more than welcome to come and pick up their children, along with their report cards and their exam results. Naruto was one of the few students that felt like he didn't need to practice. The others that weren't practicing weren't doing so because they were confident they would pass. After all, the Konoha Academy exams weren't all that difficult, not compared to other villages. Naruto, however, was not practicing because he knew, no matter what he did, he would be failed without question. Of course, there was also no way he was going to be able to pull off half the weak jutsu they were expected to perform. Iruka Yamino came out of the front entrance of the academy, wearing a normal Chunin uniform. A green, long-sleeved top, a green flak jacket along with green pants. He was wearing his Konoha forehead protector proudly, and was one of the few people that understood where forehead protectors were meant to be worn. Konoha ninja had a habit of using their forehead protectors as other weird things. He had a brown clipboard in his hand. Alright, all participants of the graduation exam, please follow me. Iruka called and all the students, including Naruto, stopped whatever they were doing and started to follow Iruka. Iruka-sensei, what are we doing for the exams? Sakura called out, she was one of the Sasuke fangirls. Pink-haired, worried more about her looks than her skills, though she had a fair bit of book knowledge. You will know soon enough, I will explain once we are inside. Iruka answered cryptically, giving away nothing of the actual contents of the exams and the manner in which the exams were to be conducted, as if he meant to entice them into being curious about their graduation exam. The class followed Iruka to a classroom. Iruka stopped in front of the door, opened it dramatically and let everyone through. As soon as Naruto, the last student in the line, went through the door, Iruka went in and locked the door behind him. This caused everyone to gasp. Sorry, but that had to be done. We don't want any outside interference while the exams are in progress. Iruka explained, trying to pacify those that were easily riled, and succeeding easily. Okay, sorry to keep you all waiting. Please take a seat according to where your names are posted on the seats. Everyone followed the instruction without a fuss. Naruto ended up sat sandwiched between Sakura, the crush of his short life, and Sasuke, his eternal arch-nemesis. He didn't know whether to be happy about sitting next to Sakura or angry about sitting next to Sasuke, so he decided to shut up and be neither. First of all, I will explain the first part of the exam. To those that are wondering, there are 5 parts in total within the exam. Some people looked at Iruka weirdly at this. They grew up hearing about the 4 parts to the exam, but what was this 5th part Iruka was speaking of? Many of you look confused as to what the 5th part may be. Well, I will explain. The first part of the exam is a written test. At this, everyone, bar Sasuke, who was too cool and emo, and Sakura, too intelligent and loving of written tests, groaned their displeasure. Iruka ignored the moans and groans and forged ahead. The second part of the test will be a Jinjutsu test. The third part will be Taijutsu, and the fourth part will be Ninjutsu. These are all common tests that you all know about and have learned about when your parents told you about the exams. The fifth part is a new test that the Hokage himself has felt necessary to introduce. It will be a free test. What do you mean, a free test? Surprisingly enough, it was the class cool boy Sasuke that spoke up. He never liked the unknown and had an earphobic fear of it. Meaning you are free to do whatever you want to impress the judges. Each judge will give you a mark out of 1000 based on how you execute whatever you were doing, including style points and the power of your technique. One of the judges will be the Hokage himself. Iruka said proudly, looking at the odd faces of the students. He handed out the papers for the written test, and they begun. Everyone had finished the first 4 parts of their exams, and now they were waiting in line for the final part that would make or break their futures. Naruto knew he had done well in every part of the exam, other than maybe the written test and the final jutsu of the ninjutsu test, the clone jutsu, but other than that, he was sure he was going to pass. This free test, this was his chance to shine. Each student was called out in alphabetical order, according to their last names. Many did their clan's signature jutsu and executed them well. Many showed off their traps and survival skills. However, nobody got a score in the 900s out of a single judge, and more people got a score in the 700s than not. Some even got a score in the 600s. The students were allowed to watch as each of their peers was called out to the training ground in front of the 2 village elders and the Hokage, and they performed their techniques. All the materials they needed were provided by the examiners. The students watched in silent anticipation as the Rookie of the Year favorite, Sasuke Uchiha, was called out to the field. Uchiha, Sasuke. Iruka called, watching as Sasuke made his way to the center. Sasuke walked out with a grim face of determination. He asked for a simple wooden dummy and prepared to show off his best jutsu. Slowly going through a few seals, he finished on a tiger seal. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Sasuke called, jumping in the air. Taking a deep breath, he blew out a medium-sized ball of fire, aiming at the training tummy. As the fire engulfed the dummy slowly died out, there was nothing left of the dummy but a stump that was burned to a crisp. 892, 899, 912. Sasuke walked out of the clearing with an arrogant smirk on his face, having gotten the highest score of the day, as the Chunin cleared up the field behind him. Uzumaki, Naruto. Iruka called. The students almost broke out in mirthful laughter as Naruto walked with a passive face. He saw the display Sasuke had put on show, he saw how high the bar was, but he knew he could do better. He had jutsu that were far more powerful than a simple ball of fire. Well, Naruto, what do you need for your technique? Iruka asked impatiently, while silently wondering whether Naruto planned to do anything decent. Would it be possible for me to showcase 2? I would show more of my arsenal, but I only have enough chakra to do only 2 of these at a time. Naruto replied. The Hokage looked at him, grim-faced. Naruto, if you can't do more than 2 of them, then I suggest you only do 1 of them. There is no